Hidden within the knowledge of the 33rd degree is a truth few ever realize. Reality does not happen to you. It happens through you. These teachings reveal how your thoughts and emotions silently command the law of attraction at every moment. Remain with this message, and you will begin the ascent from passive observer to conscious creator. Knowledge of the 33rd degree. Introduction. The knowledge of the 33rd degree has long whispered a sacred truth to those prepared to hear it. Your consciousness is the hidden foundation upon which all creation rests. This is not a teaching of optimism or wishful thought, but a revelation of the unseen currents that move through existence itself. Within this higher knowing, you awaken to the realization that every thought you hold releases a vibration, and every feeling you embrace sends a signal into the infinite field. Your consciousness is both altar and instrument, a silent transmitter forever conversing with the unseen intelligence of the universe. The thoughts you sustain and the emotions you dwell within are not fleeting inner events, but living forces shaping the pattern of your reality. When the awareness of the 33rd degree dawns within you, you understand that life does not act upon you, it unfolds through you. Such knowledge carries weight, for the law of attraction obeys without judgment or pause, just as the laws of nature move regardless of belief. Yet when this wisdom becomes conscious, you are no longer carried by the current. You become one who steers it. You step into the role of participant rather than observer in the sacred act of creation. The 33rd degree reveals that manifestation is not born from strain or domination of the will, but from harmony between the inner and the outer worlds. When your inner state is lifted beyond circumstance, alignment arises effortlessly, and the outer world rearranges itself in response. Feeling is the bridge upon which thought crosses into form. The universe answers not spoken desires, but the steady emotional tone you emit into the unseen realms. Gratitude and love hold such power because they resonate with the highest order of creation, calling forth experiences of the same nature. Through the understanding of the 33rd degree, you are initiated beyond dreaming and into conscious creation, not by force, but by alignment with the eternal laws that govern all things. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Hidden Light. Chapter 1. The Mirror in the Garden. The tranquil surface of a pond held more than mere water. It held a lesson that would transform young Elsie's understanding of creation. In this sacred garden, where ancient wisdom seemed to whisper through every leaf, she found herself drawn to the water's edge. As she gazed into its depths, she noticed something extraordinary. The pond responded not to her physical movements, but to the subtle shifts in her inner state. When joy filled her heart, the water's surface sparkled with an otherworldly luminescence. Each smile she offered was met with ripples of light, dancing across the surface like stars finding their reflection in earthly waters. Yet when doubt crossed her mind, the pond's brilliance dimmed, its surface growing opaque and dull. Through this simple interaction, the universe revealed one of its most guarded mysteries. It mirrors not our words or actions, but the vibration of our feelings. Within the same garden, though at a different time, lived Graham, a craftsman of timepieces who had lost his beloved wife. His workshop, filled with the gentle ticking of countless clocks, became his sanctuary of transformation. In his grief, he discovered an unexpected truth. Each morning, as he wound his precious timepieces, he began whispering words of gratitude for the gift of time itself. "Thank you for each moment," he would say, his fingers moving with practiced precision across the delicate mechanisms. To his amazement, his small shop began to prosper in ways that defied explanation. Customers appeared as if guided by an invisible hand, each one drawn to his timepieces that now seemed to carry an inexplicable warmth. Graham had unknowingly aligned himself with a fundamental law. Gratitude transforms ordinary moments into portals of possibility. These tales remind us that the universe operates as a grand mirror, reflecting back the emotional energy we project into it. Our external reality shapes itself not according to our words or wishes, but in harmony with the feelings we hold in our hearts. Ancient practice, the mirror garden. Each morning, as the sun rises, imagine yourself standing in a garden of mirrors. Each reflection represents an aspect of your life: relationships, work, abundance, health. Rather than scrutinizing these reflections for imperfections, radiate peace and appreciation toward them. Feel the warmth of gratitude in your heart, and observe how the reflections begin to shimmer with renewed vitality. Maintain this practice for several minutes, allowing your emotional resonance to ripple outward like Elsie's joy upon the pond's surface. Through this daily ritual, you will begin to witness how your inner harmony orchestrates the outer symphony of your life. Chapter 2. The Voice Between the Notes. The water's surface became your teacher that morning, showing how reality mirrors not your actions, but the feelings flowing beneath them. You too are like Elsie, standing at the edge of understanding, discovering that the universe responds to the vibration of your inner state rather than the words you speak. This truth reveals itself again through Minnie, whose fingers once trembled above piano keys. Her heart raced with fear of striking a wrong note, until one peaceful afternoon, when wisdom dawned like sunshine through stained glass. Between the notes, in spaces others might dismiss as empty, she discovered the true essence of music. These intervals of silence were not vacant. They were pregnant with possibility, holding the power that gave meaning to every note that followed. Just as a symphony requires both sound and silence to weave its magic, manifestation embraces both action and stillness. When you rush to force outcomes, you fragment the natural rhythm of creation. But when you rest in certainty, allowing divine timing its perfect expression, you become an instrument through which the universe plays its grandest melodies. Consider Roz, who understood this principle through her own quiet revelation. Each evening, she wrote her heart's desires on simple pieces of paper, folding them with care and placing them in an old wooden box. Unlike those who anxiously check their manifestations like children peeking at planted seeds, she simply let them be. Months passed as she lived her life, the box gathering dust in a corner. Yet in that dust of forgetting, magic stirred. One by one, her written dreams began appearing in her life, as naturally as flowers blooming in spring. Through Roz's experience, you glimpse a profound truth. Releasing attachment allows the universe to orchestrate circumstances beyond your imagining. Your role is not to direct every detail, but to plant your intentions in fertile soil and trust in the wisdom that turns seeds into gardens. Ancient practice of sacred pause. Find a quiet moment each day to practice deliberate stillness. Sit in silence, breathing slowly and deeply. Feel the space between your thoughts, the pause between your breaths. In this sacred interval, know that the universe is arranging countless unseen elements in response to your deepest intentions. Just as a musician trusts in the power of rest between notes, trust that in these moments of stillness, your desires are being woven into the fabric of reality. Let go of the need to control the timing and allow the universal orchestra to play its perfect symphony through your life. Chapter 3. The Candle in the Room of Doubt. The silence between notes held a sacred power, the space where intention gathered before manifestation. In those moments of pause, the universe orchestrated its response. Like the spaces between musical notes, your dreams require intervals of trust, moments when you step back and allow the unseen forces to arrange their perfect timing. Think of Nora in that darkened attic, her single flame casting shadows that seemed to mock her efforts. At first, her eyes fixated on the vast darkness beyond the candlelight's reach. Fear whispered that one small flame could never illuminate such emptiness. Yet as she shifted her gaze to the gentle light itself, something remarkable occurred. The flame hadn't grown larger, but its significance had transformed through her perception. This truth echoes through the ages. What you choose to focus upon expands in your experience. When your attention dwells on absence, lack casts long shadows in your mind. But when you honor the light you hold, no matter how modest it appears, its radiance multiplies through the power of your appreciation. Dennis, who carried his lantern through evening streets, never set out to gather followers. His simple act of illuminating his own path drew others naturally into his orbit. Without a word spoken, his quiet certainty became a beacon for those seeking direction. His story reveals that when you cultivate your inner light, you need not announce its presence. The world responds to its natural radiance. The law of attraction operates with this same principle. Your beliefs are lanterns, casting light or shadow on the path ahead. When doubt dims your vision, remember that even the smallest flame holds the power to pierce darkness. Your task is not to eliminate all shadows at once, but to tend faithfully to the light you possess. Ancient practice, the blessing of small lights. As you move through your day, pause to acknowledge every spark of goodness, no matter how faint it may seem. A moment of peace, a kind word, a small victory. These are your candles in the darkness. Place your attention deliberately on these points of light. Feel gratitude for their presence. Watch how your appreciation causes them to grow brighter, drawing more of their kind into your experience. Through this practice, you will discover that what you bless multiplies, and what you celebrate expands. Chapter 4. The Whispering Feather. A feather drifts across your path, not by chance, but as part of an intimate dialogue the universe maintains with your soul. In the gathering of wisdom passed down through ages, it becomes clear that life speaks to you through a language of subtle signs and gentle whispers. Amelia discovered this truth one morning when a pristine white feather appeared at her doorstep. Rather than dismissing it as mere coincidence, she paused, allowing herself to receive it as correspondence from the infinite. In that moment of recognition, something shifted in her perception. The world was no longer a collection of random events, but a tapestry of meaningful messages waiting to be understood. The universe, in its boundless wisdom, communicates through symbols that resonate with your inner knowing. These are not mere objects, but bridges between the visible and invisible realms. Each synchronicity serves as a letter in the alphabet of divine guidance, speaking directly to your circumstances and aspirations. Consider Edwin, whose life transformed through this sacred understanding. When feathers began appearing at his window with mysterious regularity, he listened to the quiet nudge within. Following this inspiration, he began crafting birdhouses, each one shaped by the same intuitive force that placed those feathers in his path. Without explanation or marketing, these simple creations found their way to eager buyers, as if guided by an unseen hand. His story reveals a profound truth. When you align with the subtle language of the universe, you step into a flow of effortless manifestation. The signs you receive are not random. They are precisely calibrated responses to your inner state, offering direction when your mind seeks clarity and confirmation when your heart harbors doubt. Your role in this cosmic dialogue is simply to remain awake to these moments of grace. Each symbol that catches your attention is a thread in the fabric of divine communication, woven with purpose and meaning. The universe never stops speaking. It only awaits your recognition. Sacred practice. Move through this day as if every detail were a personal message crafted for your eyes alone. When a leaf spirals to your feet or a bird crosses your path, pause to receive its meaning with gratitude. Write down each sign in a journal, acknowledging it as part of your ongoing conversation with the infinite. As you honor these subtle communications, watch how the universe responds with increasing clarity and frequency, turning coincidence into conscious dialogue. Chapter 5. The Key in the Drawer. Within the folds of your everyday experience lies a sacred correspondence, written in the subtle language of synchronicity. Each sign that crosses your path carries meaning beyond its physical form, a truth that becomes apparent as you awaken to the whispers of the universe. In a humble cottage at the edge of a quiet village, Mabel spent countless hours searching for the key to her grandfather's antique desk. She emptied drawers, moved furniture, and retraced her steps endlessly, convinced the key must be hidden in some clever spot. Day after day she wrote in her journal about her frustration, never noticing how the weight of the key beneath those very chapters altered the surface she wrote upon. This mirrors your own journey through life. The answers you seek often rest directly beneath the stories you tell yourself about their absence. When you cease declaring what is missing, you create space for discovery of what has always been present. The universe operates through this principle of reversed effort. The more intensely you grasp, the more elusive your desire becomes. Yet when you release your grip, what you seek has room to reveal itself. Leonard, a poet whose verses rarely left the confines of his notebook, embodied this wisdom without realizing it. Each day, he wrote simply for the joy of capturing words on paper, harboring no expectations of recognition. During a casual conversation at his local cafe about the weather, he mentioned his writing to a stranger, who happened to be a publisher seeking new voices. His acceptance of obscurity created the very opening through which recognition could enter. The universe's language of signs speaks most clearly to those who have learned to listen without straining to hear. Just as a feather drifts precisely where the air currents guide it, your desires manifest most naturally when you allow them to arrive in their own perfect timing. your practice. Today, consciously release your grip on what you've been pursuing. Trust that everything meant for you already exists within your sphere. Rather than searching, simply open your awareness to what is already present. Write down 3 things you've been actively seeking. Then beside each one write, "I release the search, knowing that what is meant for me is already within reach." Notice how your perception shifts when you stop declaring absence and start recognizing presence. Chapter 6. The Stairway of Air. In the depths of night, Ivy stood before what appeared to be empty space, her heart beating with anticipation. Dreams had led her here repeatedly, to this moment where faith would determine her ascension. The air before her held no visible support, no tangible promise of safety. Yet within her burned the ancient wisdom. That which we trust becomes our reality. Like you, Ivy faced the challenge that all masters of manifestation must confront, the void between desire and fulfillment. With trembling courage, she lifted her foot and placed it upon what seemed to be nothing but air. In that moment of pure faith, substance formed beneath her step, solid and sure as marble. This truth echoes through the ages. Belief shapes the formless into form. The universe does not demand proof before providing. It awaits your certainty to manifest what you know exists. Your conviction molds reality, like a sculptor shapes clay, but the masterpiece appears only after unwavering faith has set the design. Walter, an aging pilot, embodied this principle when facing his greatest challenge. In his workshop stood a rusted aircraft, deemed beyond repair by every mechanic who saw it. Yet Walter understood the deeper mechanics of creation. Before lifting a single tool, he spent hours in his chair, eyes closed, experiencing the perfect flight in his mind. He felt the smooth purr of the engine, saw the gleam of restored metal, and knew the joy of soaring through clear skies. Only then did he begin the physical work. Each repair flowed naturally, guided by the template his imagination had already established. When others questioned his methods, Walter simply smiled, knowing that reality follows the blueprint of belief. The day the restored plane took flight, onlookers witnessed a miracle, but Walter saw only the physical expression of what his mind had already created. These mysteries unveil a fundamental truth. The invisible must be embraced before it can materialize. Your thoughts and beliefs lay the foundation upon which physical reality builds itself. The universe responds not to your wishes or hopes, but to your deepest convictions. The practice. Find solitude in the sacred hours of dawn or dusk. Close your eyes and picture yourself already ascending. Feel the solid support beneath each step, though your physical senses may deny its presence. Trust that the unseen stairs await only your faith to become manifest. The air around you holds infinite potential. Your belief determines what forms it will take. Chapter 7. The River Remembers. In ancient days it was known that every body of water held a mirror to the soul. This wisdom comes alive in the tale of Ella, who carried the weight of past hurts to a flowing river each day. Stone by stone she cast her anger into the waters, watching each ripple disturb the surface like the turbulent thoughts that plagued her mind. The river, being the faithful mirror of universal law, could only reflect back what it received. With each pebble of resentment, its waters grew more agitated, its song becoming discordant with the chaos of unresolved emotion. You see, the law of attraction operates through this same principle. Whatever energy you cast into the stream of life returns to you with equal force. As seasons passed, Ella began to understand that her daily ritual of anger was creating more turbulence, not less. This revelation sparked a transformation in her heart. She learned to replace each stone of bitterness with a breath of forgiveness, each harsh word with a gentle blessing. As her inner storm subsided, the river's surface began to smooth, its waters dancing with newfound tranquility. The universe operates through this sacred reciprocity. Your thoughts and feelings are not merely private experiences. They are ripples in the cosmic stream, returning to shape the shores of your reality. When you cast peace into the waters of life, peace flows back to you with gathering momentum. This truth found further expression through Clyde, who chose the same riverbank for his garden. Where Ella had once thrown stones, he planted flowers. Each bloom he tended with care and appreciation became a living prayer, a testament to the power of nurturing attention. The flowers thrived beyond their natural season, defying the usual cycles of growth and decay. The river, now smooth and melodious, seemed to nourish his garden with the same loving energy he had invested. Here lies a profound teaching. The outer world arranges itself to match your inner landscape. When you transform the quality of energy you release into the universe must, by law, transform its response. This is not merely cause and effect. It is the sacred dance of creation itself. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to sit beside the river of your life. Take each thought of resentment, each memory of hurt, and consciously transform it into a blessing. Feel the waters of your consciousness growing calmer with each act of release. Watch as the turbulent currents of your experience gradually shift to reflect the peace you've cultivated within. This practice, passed down through generations of wisdom seekers, holds the power to reshape the very fabric of your reality. Chapter 8. The Seed of Light. In the depths of a humble garden, Dorothy placed a seed within the dark earth, her fingers trembling with doubt. Each morning she would peer at the soil, seeing only blackness where she yearned for life to emerge. The empty surface seemed to mock her hopes, yet beneath that apparent void, an ancient alchemy was at work. You too have planted seeds of desire in the fertile ground of consciousness, wondering if your dreams will ever break through to the light. Like Dorothy, you may question the wisdom of investing faith in what appears to be merely dirt and darkness. But the universal law whispers that every manifestation must first take root in unseen realms before it can pierce the veil of physical reality. When Dorothy discovered the golden sprout one dawn, reaching toward the sky with unwavering determination, she understood that her doubt had never deterred the seed's inherent knowing. Nature held no uncertainty about its power to transform. The sprout simply followed the eternal law. First the root, then the shoot, finally the fruit. This mirrors the way your own visions develop. What appears as stagnation on the surface often masks profound activity in the depths. The universe operates through precise stages of unfoldment, each one essential to the strength of what will bloom. Consider Marvin, who spent his days carving wooden suns while storm clouds gathered outside his workshop window. As thunder rolled and rain fell, his hands steadily shaped rays of light into each piece. Customers were drawn to the warmth emanating from his creations, sensing the power of one who could see summer in the midst of tempest. His story teaches that circumstances need not dictate your inner weather. By holding fast to your vision despite outer conditions, you plant a seed of light that must, by universal law, break through to expression. The darkness that seems to swallow your dreams is not your enemy. It is the nourishing space where possibility takes root. Just as a seed requires the black earth before it can reach toward blue sky, your vision must first establish itself in the fertile soil of patient faith. Practice. Each evening, sit quietly and bless the apparent void where your dreams seem buried. Thank the darkness for its hidden work of germination. Know that beneath the surface, miracle follows miracle in perfect sequence. Your task is not to force the growth, but to trust the wisdom that transforms seeds into gardens. Let your faith be the water that nourishes what is yet unseen. Chapter 9. The Clock of Infinite Noon. In a small cottage at the edge of town lived Agnes, whose most treasured possession was an antique clock frozen at the stroke of 12. Its hands refused to move, yet she polished its face daily and kept it mounted proudly above her fireplace. Visitors would exchange puzzled glances, wondering why she cherished a timepiece that could not tell time. "Why keep a broken clock?" they would ask, their voices tinged with judgment. Agnes would simply smile and touch its golden face with reverence. "It marks the perfect moment," she would reply, "the eternal now, where all possibilities exist." This truth lies at the heart of universal law. Time is not a linear march, but a perpetual point of power. The present moment contains all moments, just as a seed contains an entire forest. When you align with this understanding, you step into the realm where manifestation occurs not through forcing or waiting, but through being. Agnes understood that her clock wasn't broken, it was complete. It stood as a constant reminder that divine timing exists beyond the mechanical counting of seconds. In that frozen 12 o'clock, she saw the infinity where past and future collapse into now, where every desire already exists in its fulfilled state. Consider Frank, who spent years searching for love, marking time with lonely dinners and empty weekends. His breakthrough came not from endless seeking, but from a profound shift in awareness. One morning, he stood before his mirror and declared with quiet certainty, "I am already cherished." He stopped counting the days of absence and began living as though love had already found him. Within weeks, he met his life partner in the most ordinary of circumstances, reaching for the same book in a small bookshop. What changed was not the external timing, but his internal vibration. By declaring himself complete in the eternal now, he aligned with love's presence rather than its absence. Your relationship with time shapes every manifestation in your life. When you believe something must happen eventually, you push it perpetually into a future that never arrives. But when you recognize that fulfillment exists in the eternal noon of consciousness, you allow it to emerge in your experience. This is not magical thinking, but rather aligning with the fundamental nature of reality. Time is not a path you walk to reach your desires. It is the space in which you recognize they already exist. Like Agnes's clock, you stand always at the hour of completion. Practice. Hold your awareness in the eternal now, where your desires already live in their fulfilled state. Feel the reality of your vision as present fact, rather than future possibility. The clock of divine timing never left the perfect hour. It simply awaits your recognition of what already is. Chapter 10. The Song Beneath the Storm. In a small coastal village, Pearl lived in a cottage perched on windswept cliffs. During fierce storms, while others shuttered their windows and waited in fearful silence, she would sit by her window and hum ancient melodies. The villagers thought her strange, until they noticed how the lightning seemed to dance in rhythm with her songs, and how the thunder became like distant drums accompanying her tune. Through Pearl's experience, a timeless truth emerges. The outer world arranges itself according to your inner harmony. When you maintain peaceful vibrations amid chaos, you become the eye of the storm, not by fighting against turbulence, but by anchoring yourself in unshakable tranquility. The law of attraction responds not to what you want, but to what you are. In moments of upheaval, your sustained serenity becomes a magnetic force far more powerful than any attempt to control circumstances. Like a lighthouse standing unmoved while waves crash below, your steady presence redirects the entire flow of events. Eugene, a merchant whose business faced severe challenges, discovered this principle through an unexpected path. Despite dwindling sales and mounting pressures, he maintained his practice of writing 3 gratitudes each evening. While others advised him to focus solely on solutions, he understood that appreciation was the solution. As weeks passed, he noticed something remarkable. Each expression of thanks, penned during his darkest hours, seemed to plant seeds of abundance that bloomed in surprising ways. A chance meeting led to a valuable partnership. A delayed shipment created an opportunity for a more profitable venture. What appeared as misfortune transformed into stepping stones toward greater prosperity. Through Eugene's journey, we glimpse the deeper mechanics of manifestation. Gratitude sustained through trials carries more creative power than gratitude offered only in good times. It's the difference between fair-weather faith and unshakable knowing. The universe responds most powerfully to those who maintain their inner song regardless of external discord. Like Pearl's humming that transformed thunder into harmony, your unwavering peace becomes a tuning fork that brings all circumstances into alignment with your highest good. Your practice. Sit quietly today, especially during moments of uncertainty or challenge. Begin humming softly, any melody that brings you peace. Feel how your vibration remains steady despite outer conditions. This is not denial of storms, but mastery over their effect on your inner state. Let your serene song become the frequency that reality must match. Part 2. The Architecture of Thought. Chapter 11. The Map Drawn Backwards. In an ancient marketplace, Clara spent her days crafting intricate maps for travelers. One morning, lost in thought, she began sketching what she believed to be a new route. As her quill danced across the parchment, she found herself starting not from a beginning point, but from the treasure itself. Working backward, each line seemed to flow naturally into the next, until she realized she had created something extraordinary, a path that began at its destination. This eternal truth now unfolds before you. The universe responds most powerfully to endings held in perfect clarity. When you grasp the finale with unwavering certainty, the path assembles itself with divine precision. You need not calculate every turn and twist of the journey. Your task is to hold the vision of completion with such vivid detail that reality has no choice but to construct the bridge between now and then. Think of how water knows precisely where it must flow to reach the sea. It does not question its course or doubt its destination. Similarly, when you anchor yourself in the feeling of achievement already accomplished, the law of attraction begins orchestrating circumstances from that point backward to your present moment. Russell, a merchant who had lost his sense of direction in life, discovered this wisdom through an unusual exercise. Rather than planning his future, he wrote his own obituary, not from fear, but from vision. As his quill recorded the achievements, the lives touched, and the legacy left behind, something shifted within him. The words revealed not just an ending, but a calling. By seeing his life's conclusion with crystal clarity, the steps toward that destiny began arranging themselves with mysterious precision. Your thoughts are like Clara's quill. They draw maps in the fabric of reality. Most spend their lives starting from where they stand, trying to plot a course through uncertainty. But the masters of manifestation have always known that the surest path appears when you first plant yourself firmly in the energy of completion. The law of attraction responds to the feeling of arrival more powerfully than the strain of seeking. When you vibrate in harmony with your desired end, the universe conspires to fill in the gaps between now and then. This is not mere planning or positive thinking. It is the ancient art of reversed manifestation. The next time you find yourself unsure of which direction to take, pause and allow yourself to inhabit the moment of completion. Feel the satisfaction of achievement, the peace of arrival, the joy of manifestation fulfilled. Let these feelings become so real that your present circumstances have no choice but to rearrange themselves into the perfect path. Remember, the universe does not require your step-by-step calculations. It asks only for your unwavering vision of the end result. Like Clara's backward-flowing map, your path will reveal itself when you begin from the treasure itself. Practice. Before sleep tonight, immerse yourself in the vivid details of your desired outcome. Feel it as already accomplished, already real. Allow this feeling to saturate your consciousness until the path begins drawing itself back to your present moment. The map is already complete. You need only trace it backward from your heart's destination. Chapter 12. The Lighthouse Inside You. The ancient truth lies before you. The universe responds most powerfully to endings held in perfect clarity. When you grasp the finale with unwavering certainty, the path assembles itself with divine precision. You need not calculate every turn and twist of the journey. Your task is simply to hold the vision of completion with such vivid faith that reality has no choice but to conform. This wisdom echoes through time in the story of Harriet, who spent countless hours painting lighthouses upon canvas. Each stroke of her brush carried the dream of building a real beacon of hope. Night after night, she held this vision in her meditation, seeing the lighthouse in such detail that it began appearing in her dreams. The remarkable transformation occurred not when she physically constructed a tower of stone, but when she realized she had become the lighthouse itself. As her inner light grew stronger, those in need began finding their way to her door. Strangers would pause at her garden gate, sensing something they couldn't explain. Neighbors started seeking her counsel during difficult times. Without advertisement or announcement, her presence became a silent harbor for troubled souls. The universe had responded not to her external actions, but to the unwavering signal of her inner guidance. This truth reveals itself with crystalline clarity. Your thoughts construct reality backward from the end point you envision. The path appears beneath your feet, not because you mapped each step, but because your destination pulls you toward it with magnetic certainty. Consider Boyd, who chose to sit in stillness each morning as dawn painted the sky. He sought nothing beyond the quiet communion with his own essence. Yet gradually, his colleagues noticed how the office atmosphere shifted when he arrived. Meetings flowed more smoothly, conflicts dissolved more easily, and laughter came more readily. Without speaking of his practice or attempting to influence others, his mere presence had become a compass pointing toward harmony. The power lies not in the action, but in the being. When you allow yourself to embody the end result you seek, reality rearranges itself to match your frequency. Like Clara's reversed map, the path reveals itself naturally when you hold the destination in your heart with perfect trust. Your practice today is simply this: be the beacon without seeking rescuers. Simply shine, and guidance radiates in silence. Chapter 13. The Hidden Door Behind the Wall. In the depths of your consciousness lies a truth so ancient it whispers through the walls of your everyday existence. Just as dreams float between sleeping and waking, certain doorways hover between seen and unseen realms, waiting for recognition. Opal lived in an old house where dreams began speaking through the wallpaper. Night after night, she witnessed a door materializing in her meditation room, not with the harsh lines of physical architecture, but with the soft suggestion of possibility. Rather than dismissing these visions as mere fantasy, she allowed them to guide her hands as she repainted the space. As the fresh paint dried, her fingertips detected what her eyes had missed: the faintest outline of a door frame, long concealed beneath layers of time. Following this subtle invitation, she discovered a forgotten closet filled with photographs, letters, and mementos from the home's past inhabitants. Each item resonated with the energy of cherished memories, proving that blessings often hide behind the very walls we take for granted. The universe operates through gentle revelation rather than forceful exposure. When you sense a dream's persistent knock, wisdom lies not in tearing down barriers, but in patient investigation. Every recurring vision serves as a map to treasure, requiring only your willingness to explore with reverence. This truth found further expression through Milton, a quiet inventor who began recording his nighttime journeys in a leather-bound journal. As symbols and images repeated themselves, he noticed patterns emerging, solutions to problems he hadn't yet fully formulated in his waking hours. By treating his dreams as blueprints rather than random fragments, he transformed ethereal inspiration into tangible creation. Your subconscious mind stores infinite wisdom behind its subtle doors. Each dream, each intuitive flash, each persistent thought pattern serves as a key to unlocking these inner vaults. The walls you perceive as obstacles may actually protect and preserve the very gifts you seek. The ancient practice of dream door opening. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and envision a door within your mind's landscape. Notice its texture, its color, any symbols or markings upon its surface. Rather than forcing it open, simply observe and acknowledge its presence. As you maintain this gentle attention, record any impressions, images, or insights that arise. Through this practice, the doorways of your psyche will gradually reveal their treasures, transforming fleeting dreams into manifested reality. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Silent Partner. In your journey through the veils of manifestation, each wall that appears solid transforms into a gateway when approached with gentle awareness. Like Opal's discovery, your own dwelling place holds chambers of possibility, waiting to be revealed through the eyes of trust. Within those unseen spaces dwells an intelligence far greater than surface perception suggests. Ruth understood this truth as she opened her modest bakery, blessing each night's stillness with thanks for aid yet unseen. She spoke to the invisible as one speaks to a trusted friend, knowing that gratitude opens pathways that force cannot breach. As dawn touched her windows, synchronicities began to weave through her days. A supplier arrived moments before she ran out of flour. A sudden rainstorm brought crowds seeking shelter who discovered her warm bread. When her oven faltered, a master repairman happened to smell her baking and offered his services in exchange for daily loaves. These were not mere coincidences, but the silent workings of universal intelligence responding to her reverent invitation. The more she thanked the unseen, the more visible its support became, until her small bakery flourished beyond explanation. This truth echoed in Gerald's life as well. Each evening, this thoughtful accountant would pose questions to his higher wisdom before sleep. Rather than wrestling with problems, he offered them up to that greater knowing within. Morning would often find him awake with crystal clarity, solutions arising not from struggle but from surrender to inner guidance. The message rings clear through their stories. Within you dwells a quiet co-creator, waiting not for demands but for recognition. This presence works through the subtle architecture of reality, arranging what mind alone cannot orchestrate. The eternal architect moves through channels of appreciation, not through pathways of force. When you align with this truth, ordinary walls reveal their hidden doors, and what seemed impossible yields to the touch of grace. Practice. Let your evening prayer become one of communion rather than petition. Before sleep, acknowledge the silent partner in your creations. Feel its presence beside you, within you, arranging what you cannot see. This is not a ritual of asking, but of recognition, the deepening awareness that you never walk alone through the corridors of manifestation. Chapter 15. The Echo Room. Long ago, in a quiet valley, Beatrice inherited an old mansion from her grandmother. As she first stepped into its spacious halls, her footsteps reverberated through empty rooms, each sound amplifying and returning with startling intensity. In those early days, her frustrations echoed harsh and sharp, multiplying her discontent until the very walls seemed to vibrate with tension. The universe operates as this empty house, magnifying and returning precisely what we project into its vastness. Your thoughts and words travel outward like sound waves, gathering momentum before returning as circumstances and experiences that match their original tone. Beatrice discovered this truth through living in her echo chamber home. When she called out in anger, the response thundered back with such force that pictures rattled on the walls. Yet one morning, while humming a gentle melody, she noticed how the house seemed to soften. its resonance transforming into sweet harmony that filled every corner with peaceful vibration. This revelation altered how she moved through her days. She began speaking with measured grace, choosing words that carried the frequency of love. Gradually, the mansion's atmosphere shifted, no longer an amplifier of chaos, but a sanctuary of purposeful peace. The echo remained, but now it returned as music rather than noise. Norman's story further exemplifies this principle. As a department manager, he faced daily conflicts that seemed to escalate without resolution. Each tense meeting bred more tension. Each harsh word returned multiplied through his team's resistance. Then he uncovered the echo principle. Before entering any situation, he would stand quietly and speak words of harmony into the air. I am surrounded by cooperation and understanding. Every interaction flows with ease and mutual respect. At first it felt foolish speaking affirmations to empty space, but like Beatrice's house, reality began reflecting back the very tone he projected. Meetings that once erupted in discord now unfolded with unexpected grace. Team members who had been adversaries found common ground. The echo of his intentional vibration returned as transformed circumstances, proving that the universe mirrors not just our words, but the energy beneath them. The power lies not in the volume of your projection, but in its quality. When you speak to life with reverence, life responds with revelation. When you offer understanding, understanding multiplies in your experience. This is not magical thinking, but the precise operation of universal law, the law of sympathetic resonance that governs all interaction between consciousness and circumstance. Ancient practice. Begin each morning by entering your own echo chamber of consciousness. Speak words seasoned with kindness into the fertile silence, knowing that the universe multiplies whatever tone you set. Let your voice carry the vibration of what you wish to experience, for the echo will surely return, carrying the same quality you have projected. Through this practice, you become the master musician of your circumstances, conducting the symphony of your experience through the conscious use of spiritual sound. Chapter 16. The Painter of Skies. In the heart of a small valley town, Hazel sat by her window as storm clouds gathered overhead. While others bemoaned the darkening sky, she began to paint with her imagination, brushing warm hues across her mind's canvas. She envisioned golden rays piercing through rain-heavy clouds, transforming ordinary droplets into prisms of light. The true power of imagination reveals itself not in escape from reality, but in the subtle alchemy of transforming it. Your thoughts carry a magnetic resonance that shapes the very substance of experience. Like Hazel, who refused to let gray skies dictate her inner weather, you hold the palette of creation within your consciousness. As weeks passed, her family began noticing an unusual phenomenon. The clouds above their home often carried a peculiar glow, as if reflecting some hidden sun. Even in the midst of storms, strange patches of light would break through, casting rose-gold tints across rain-slicked streets. They didn't realize that Hazel's inner radiance had begun to affect the physical atmosphere, demonstrating how collective consciousness molds the material world. This principle extends beyond individual experience. When groups gather in harmonious thought, their combined vibration produces tangible shifts in their environment. The universe responds not to what we say we believe, but to the emotional current flowing beneath our words. Clydene understood this when she transformed an abandoned warehouse into a community art space. She knew that creativity shared in joy could alter more than canvas and clay. As neighbors gathered to paint together, their laughter and inspiration began weaving invisible threads of light through the neighborhood. Soon, others reported feeling inexplicably uplifted just walking past the building. Gardens seemed to bloom more vibrantly on that street. Children played with renewed enthusiasm in nearby parks. The art space had become a beacon, broadcasting the combined positive energy of its participants into the surrounding area. These stories illuminate an essential truth. Your inner atmosphere is not private. It radiates outward, contributing to the collective weather of human experience. Every moment of gratitude, every visualized sunset, every felt appreciation adds its light to the greater sky of shared reality. The physical world emerges from the template of collective imagination. When you shift your inner weather toward joy, you participate in humanity's ongoing creation of experience. Like Hazel's sunset visions or Clydene's art sanctuary, your consciousness serves as a brush painting upon the canvas of manifest life. Ancient practice. Begin each day by consciously coloring your inner atmosphere with gratitude's glow. Picture yourself as a living sunburst, radiating warmth regardless of external conditions. Feel appreciation's golden light filling every cell of your being until it naturally spills into your surroundings. Watch as the outer world gradually begins to mirror your inner weather, revealing the perfect partnership between imagination and manifestation. Chapter 17. The Composer's Breath. In the quiet corner of a sunlit room, Sylvie sat with closed eyes, her fingers hovering above piano keys. Rather than immediately pressing them, she first shaped each note with her breath, allowing intention to flow from her spirit into the air around her. With each gentle exhale, she wove patterns of melody in the unseen realm, trusting that music existed before sound manifested. The universe responds not to mechanical action, but to the living current of conscious breath. When you infuse your intentions with vital energy, you participate in the original act of creation. Each breath carries the power to shape reality, just as the divine breath first moved upon the waters of existence. As Sylvie continued this practice, her music transformed. Listeners spoke of hearing something beyond mere notes, a sacred quality that touched their hearts. She had discovered that breath aligned with purpose becomes a bridge between the invisible and visible worlds. The keys beneath her fingers became mere instruments for expressing what she had already created in spirit. In the depths of winter, Howard lay in his hospital bed, his body weakened by illness. Instead of focusing on his symptoms, he began breathing with deliberate awareness. With each inhalation, he drew in visions of vibrant health. With each exhalation, he released all that opposed his healing. Day by day, his vital signs improved, puzzling his doctors but confirming an ancient truth. Breath directed by faith becomes medicine for body and soul. His recovery teaches us that every breath offers an opportunity for renewal. The air you draw in carries more than oxygen. It brings life force itself, ready to be shaped by your conscious intention. The universe waits for your breath of blessing. Each time you exhale with purposeful appreciation, you release creative force into your circumstances. Like Sylvie at her piano, You can compose your reality first in the subtle realm of spirit, allowing physical manifestation to follow naturally. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and settle into deep awareness. Begin breathing with conscious intention, infusing each exhale with blessings for your desires. Feel each breath carrying your faith into form, shaping the invisible into visible creation. Continue this practice until you sense the shift from effort to effortless flow. Chapter 18. The Garden of Equations. In a quiet study filled with mathematical scrolls, Ada traced geometric patterns that danced across her papers. Each equation seemed to whisper ancient truths, leading her from rigid academia to her garden where the same divine proportions bloomed in every flower. The Fibonacci sequence spiraled in sunflower heads, while fractals repeated in fern fronds, revealing that numbers were not cold calculations, but the very poetry of existence. You too possess this innate understanding that mathematics flows through all creation. When you perceive numbers not as mere quantities, but as qualities of energy, you unlock their sacred power. Each number vibrates with specific intention, carrying frequencies that shape material reality. Ada discovered that her garden flourished most abundantly when she planted according to sacred geometry. The spaces between rows matched golden ratios, and the timing of seasons aligned with numerical harmonies. Her vegetables grew larger, her flowers bloomed longer, and visitors often remarked on the tangible peace that permeated her grounds. This wisdom extends beyond gardens into every aspect of life. Ernest, a merchant struggling with his ledgers, transformed his relationship with numbers by treating them as living energies rather than burdensome figures. Instead of dreading his accounting, he began each morning by blessing his calculations. He spoke to his numbers with genuine appreciation, acknowledging them as allies in his prosperity. Within months, Ernest's books balanced with unprecedented ease. Opportunities appeared as if by divine mathematics, and his business expanded through what appeared to be perfect timing. He had discovered what the ancient mystery schools always knew. Numbers are consciousness in form. When you approach mathematics as a language of light rather than a tool of limitation, it reveals its deeper nature. Each calculation becomes a prayer, each ledger a sacred text, each spreadsheet a manifestation grid. The universe itself computes through love, not force. Practice. Engage with numbers today as though they were conscious companions. When balancing accounts, express gratitude for their precision. When measuring ingredients, thank them for their perfect proportions. When checking the time, bless the mathematical dance of minutes. Feel how calculation and compassion unite in the heart of creation. Chapter 19. The Sculptor and the Wind. In a humble studio among willows, Virginia sat each morning at her potter's wheel, waiting for perfect stillness to shape her vessels. For years, she refused to work when even the slightest breeze stirred, believing that true artistry required absolute control. Her shelves filled with perfectly symmetrical bowls, each one a testament to measured precision. Yet something vital seemed absent from their pristine surfaces. One autumn afternoon, an unexpected wind swept through her open windows. Rather than abandon her work as usual, Virginia found herself too immersed in the clay's potential to stop. As the breeze played across her hands, it created subtle undulations in the vessel's form. The bowl that emerged bore graceful waves and gentle ripples, that no human touch alone could have crafted. This truth emerges. The universe speaks through apparent disruption. What you perceive as interference often carries divine intention, guiding your creation toward higher beauty. When you resist life's natural flow, you deny yourself partnership with infinite intelligence. Think of your own creative force as a river joining the ocean. It does not fight the tides but merges with their rhythm, becoming more powerful through surrender. The law of attraction operates not through rigid control but through inspired cooperation with universal forces. Edgar discovered this principle when his carefully planned career path crumbled unexpectedly. For months he had clung to his position at a prestigious firm, ignoring signs of misalignment. When reorganization forced his departure, initial panic gave way to an inexplicable sense of relief. Following subtle nudges and synchronicities, he found himself drawn to an emerging industry that perfectly matched his unique gifts. What seemed like professional catastrophe had actually been the universe's choreography, leading him to his true calling. Your own path contains similar wisdom. Those moments when life appears to distort your careful plans often conceal seeds of greater fulfillment. The law of attraction works not just through your conscious intentions, but through the greater intelligence that knows your highest good. Consider how a sail catches wind, not by fighting against it, but by adjusting its position to harness its power. Similarly, your manifestations gain momentum when you learn to work with, rather than against the forces that shape your journey. Practice. Begin each day by affirming, "I welcome divine disruption as the sculptor of my highest good." When unexpected winds blow through your carefully arranged plans, pause before resisting. Feel for the creative possibility hidden within the change. Let the universe be your artistic partner, knowing that sometimes the most beautiful vessels emerge from moments of seeming chaos. Move forward with trust that every shift in your path serves the emergence of your highest expression. Chapter 20. The Conversation with Reality. In the gentle dance between human will and divine timing, a sacred truth unfolds through the story of a simple sculptor. Virginia's tale awakens us to the profound understanding that what we perceive as interference often carries hidden blessings. The wind that day wasn't disrupting her art, it was participating in it. When you resist the natural flow of life's currents, you remain trapped within the limitations of human control. Yet, when you surrender to the greater wisdom that moves through all things, your creations take on a beauty beyond your original vision. This is the essence of co-creation with the universe. Just as Virginia discovered that the wind could enhance rather than hinder her work, you too are being invited to recognize how life's apparent disruptions guide you toward greater mastery. The universe doesn't seek to obstruct your path, it wishes to elevate it. Joanne understood this principle in her own way. She began speaking to her circumstances as though they were conscious companions rather than lifeless events. Each morning, she would greet her challenges with warmth. "Thank you for showing me where I need to grow." When obstacles appeared, she would say, "I know you bring a gift I cannot yet see." At first, it seemed foolish to converse with thin air. Yet soon, her days began responding with remarkable synchronicity. Job opportunities appeared precisely when needed. Helpful strangers crossed her path at crucial moments. Resources materialized just as she required them. The universe, it seemed, was answering her friendly overtures with its own gestures of support. The teaching crystallizes here. Reality is not deaf to your inner dialogue. It hears and responds to the emotional tone of your relationship with it. When you approach life with hostility, it reflects that energy back. When you engage it with appreciation, it mirrors that instead. Dean embodied this wisdom when his car broke down. Rather than cursing the vehicle, he spoke to it with genuine gratitude each day. "Thank you for all the journeys we've shared. I know you'll be running smoothly again soon." He maintained this practice throughout the repair process. When the mechanics encountered unexpected complications, Dean stayed steady in his appreciative attitude. Upon completion, the car ran better than it had in years, as though responding to his consistent kindness. These experiences reveal a fundamental truth. The universe operates as a living intelligence that recognizes and responds to the quality of attention you give it. Your words and emotions send ripples through the fabric of reality, programming its response to your consciousness. Sacred practice. Begin addressing each aspect of your life as though it were a dear friend capable of hearing and responding to your words. Speak kindly to your home, your work, your challenges, and your dreams. Watch how reality begins to mirror back the same quality of attention you offer it. When you treat life as a beloved companion rather than an adversary, it transforms from an obstacle course into a dance of co-creation. Part 3. The Crown of Mastery. Chapter 21. The Library of Light. In the quiet depths of night, a library stands eternal, its shelves holding not just books, but the very essence of wisdom itself. Here, Lillian discovered a truth that would transform her understanding of knowledge. As she walked through the towering aisles, she noticed something extraordinary. The books did not contain printed words, but rather emanated light in varying hues and intensities. Each volume pulsed with the living energy of its teachings, some glowing soft azure like dawn breaking over still waters, others radiating golden warmth like autumn sunlight. This was no ordinary collection of written wisdom. It was a repository of lived experience, each light a testament to understanding earned through life itself. The universe speaks not through mere words, but through vibration, through the subtle language of energy and resonance. Just as these books in Lillian's vision glowed with their inner truth, so too does authentic wisdom emanate from within you. It is not the memorization of concepts that transforms your reality, but rather the frequency at which you operate. Consider how different it feels to read about compassion versus embodying it fully in your actions. When you truly integrate a teaching, it becomes part of your energetic signature, radiating naturally without need for explanation or discussion. This is the difference between intellectual knowledge and wisdom. One sits upon the surface, while the other glows from within. Alton understood this principle deeply. He never spoke of inner peace or quoted spiritual texts, yet those who entered his presence felt an immediate shift in their consciousness. His careful cultivation of tranquility created a field of calm that touched everyone around him. Without words, without effort, his very being transmitted the teaching of serenity. The law of attraction responds not to what you know, but to what you have become. When you absorb a truth so completely that it alters your vibration, the universe mirrors that frequency back to you with perfect precision. This is why two people can read the same words yet experience vastly different results. One merely collects information, while the other allows it to transform their entire being. Your journey through life is not about accumulating knowledge, but about allowing each experience to refine your frequency. Let your trials become your light. Let your challenges polish your radiance. The universe seeks not scholars who can recite wisdom, but beings who embody it. Sacred practice. As the day unfolds before you, practice turning your lessons into radiance instead of rhetoric. Rather than speaking of what you know, allow your presence to silently transmit your understanding. Let your peace be your message, your joy your sermon, your love your teaching. In this way, you become a living library, each moment a glowing testament to the wisdom you have truly earned. Chapter 22. The Bridge That Built Itself. In the golden hours of dawn, Darla stood at the edge of a great canyon, her eyes fixed upon the distant cliff where her dreams awaited. The chasm before her stretched wide and deep, yet in her heart she saw more than empty space. With unwavering clarity, she visualized a bridge spanning the void, its sturdy planks gleaming in the morning light. Day after day, she returned to that precipice, each time strengthening her inner vision of safe passage. She did not question how or when. She simply held the image of crossing with absolute certainty. As weeks passed, something remarkable began to unfold. A wandering carpenter offered his expertise. A lumber merchant provided materials at an unexpected discount. Local craftsmen, touched by her quiet determination, volunteered their time. What started as invisible architecture in her mind gradually took physical form. Board by board, nail by nail, the bridge materialized, not through her hands alone, but through a symphony of synchronized support that seemed orchestrated by an unseen conductor. The universe had heard her unwavering belief and mobilized its resources accordingly. This truth echoes through time. Faith does not merely hope for completion, it summons the builders. Your certainty becomes a beacon, drawing forth the very elements required for manifestation. The bridge appears because you first dared to see it whole and perfect in your mind's eye. Consider Floyd, whose visionary project seemed beyond his solitary reach. Yet he held within his consciousness a complete picture of collaborative success. He did not anxiously seek partners or frantically network. Instead, he worked steadily, carrying the quiet knowing that the right team would assemble at the perfect moment. True to this law, individuals began appearing in his path, each bringing precisely the skills his venture required. A marketing expert resonated with his vision during a chance encounter. A talented programmer reached out through a mutual connection. An investor who shared his values discovered his work through synchronistic timing. The universe operates through attraction, not pursuit. When you hold steadfast to your inner knowing, the outer world arranges itself to match your certainty. The bridge builds itself through you and through others who are drawn to your unwavering faith. Practice. As you move through your day, expect cooperation from the living world. Take each step as though your bridge is already complete. Feel the solid planks beneath your feet even when your physical eyes see only open air. The universe delights in proving your faith well-placed, manifesting support in ways your limited perspective could never have planned. Chapter 23. The Clockmaker's Dream. As you stand at the edge of life's canyons, Witness how the universe arranges its materials in service of unshakable vision. The ancient wisdom whispers that every bridge begins in the silent chambers of belief, long before the first plank appears. Your role is not to build alone, but to hold the completed image with such pristine clarity that reality itself bends to match it. In the valleys of your own journey, remember Darla's unwavering gaze. She did not pace anxiously or demand immediate results. Instead, she demonstrated that faith is not passive waiting, but active magnetism, drawing synchronicity from the fabric of existence. Through her story, you glimpse the eternal principle that what you steadfastly envision must, by universal law, gather its elements into form. Consider now the tale of Ethel, whose father crafted timepieces with devotion that transformed mere mechanics into poetry. In his workshop, surrounded by gears and springs, he shared the secret that time itself responds to the quality of attention we bestow upon it. Each watch he created became more than an instrument. It became a vessel of focused love. Ethel absorbed this wisdom, discovering that when she poured herself completely into any endeavor, minutes expanded into infinity. Whether tending her garden or writing in her journal, she found that immersion in joy created a sanctuary where time ceased its relentless march and instead danced to the rhythm of her devotion. This truth revealed itself again through Patrick, who had long approached his exercise routine as a battle to be won. His breakthrough came when he shifted from forcing progress to embracing each movement with delight. In that transformation, his strength doubled, his endurance soared, and his entire practice elevated from obligation to artistry. These stories illuminate the teaching that concentration, when married to joy, dissolves the very barriers we believe stand in our way. Time, that most mysterious of dimensions, yields to those who enter fully into their purpose with love rather than strain. Your practice. Find yourself in complete presence within your chosen craft. Whether you paint, write, build, or heal, surrender to it entirely. Let your awareness merge with the work until you no longer notice time's passage. In this sacred space of total immersion, you'll discover that moments cease to be measured and instead become eternal. Through this practice, you join the ancient lineage of those who have learned to transcend time through the power of devoted attention. Chapter 24. The Lantern on the Mountain. In the ancient scrolls of wisdom, a truth emerges through the story of Joyce and her nightly ascent. With each step up the winding path, her lantern cast shadows that seemed to stretch into infinity. Night after night, she climbed, believing each hill to be different from the last, until that transformative dawn when understanding broke across her consciousness like the first rays of sun. The mountain she had circled was not merely earth and stone, but the eternal symbol of achievement itself. In its spiraling path lay the profound teaching. Mastery is not a linear journey to some distant peak, but rather a deepening spiral of understanding. Each pass around the mountain brings new perception, though the truth being circled remains unchanged. Within Joyce's persistence lies a sacred revelation. Illumination must be sustained through darkness for wisdom to crystallize. The lantern she carried represents the unwavering light of dedication, showing that even when progress seems repetitive, each cycle elevates consciousness to a higher turn of the spiral. When Victor later found himself guiding others up similar paths, he discovered the deeper mystery, that teaching itself is not separate from mastery, but its ultimate expression. In sharing his light with fellow climbers, he realized that knowledge achieves its highest purpose through transmission. The summit was not a solitary achievement, but a vantage point from which to illuminate others' journeys. This ancient teaching reveals that true mastery manifests in 3 circles of understanding. The first circle is personal practice, your dedicated climb through darkness. The second is the recognition that repetition builds not tedium, but transcendence. The third and highest circle is the sharing of your light, which completes the spiral by igniting other lanterns. As you walk your own spiraling path, remember that each step, though it may seem to cover familiar ground, carries you higher in understanding. Your persistence in maintaining your inner light, even when the peak seems distant, creates the very illumination needed to recognize the summit when it appears. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment each day to share some aspect of your journey with another soul. Whether through gentle guidance, compassionate listening, or simple presence, let your light shine forth. In this sharing, you'll discover that mastery's true summit is not a solitary peak, but a gathering of lights, each illuminating the path for others while growing brighter in the sharing. Chapter 25. The Well That Sang Back. In the depths of an ancient well, where shadows meet stone and whispers find their way home, Naomi discovered a truth that would reshape her understanding of universal harmony. Each morning, she would walk to the well's weathered edge, lean forward into its cool darkness, and speak words of gratitude into its depths. What began as a simple practice soon revealed itself as a gateway to profound wisdom. At first, her words descended like ordinary echoes bouncing off the age-old stones. But one dawn, something extraordinary occurred. As her whispered thank you traveled downward, the well returned not her words, but a melodious note, a song that seemed to emerge from the very heart of creation. The echo had transformed her gratitude into music, teaching her that the universe never simply returns what we offer. It amplifies and elevates our expressions of appreciation into higher forms of blessing. The well became her teacher, showing that every thought and feeling we send into the cosmic depths returns magnified and transformed. When you express joy, the universe doesn't merely echo it back. It orchestrates a symphony around your initial note. Your gratitude becomes the first drop in an ocean of abundance, your love the seed of a garden in full bloom. This truth illuminates the hidden mechanics of manifestation. The universe operates not as a mirror that reflects, but as an instrument that harmonizes. Each sincere expression of thankfulness creates ripples that return as waves of opportunity. Each whispered blessing comes back as a chorus of grace. Lester, a humble shopkeeper, embraced this wisdom in his own way. Each evening he would write heartfelt letters of appreciation, to life itself, to the day's experiences, to the challenges that helped him grow. He sealed these notes in simple envelopes and stored them in a wooden box, treating each as a sacred correspondence with the infinite. As weeks passed, his life began to transform in ways he couldn't have orchestrated. Opportunities appeared as if summoned by an unseen conductor. A chance meeting led to a beneficial partnership. A random conversation opened doors he hadn't known existed. his simple practice of gratitude had set in motion a cosmic response that exceeded his original input. These stories reveal that gratitude is not merely a virtue, it is a frequency that the universe amplifies. When you speak appreciation into the well of existence, it doesn't return as a hollow echo, but as an enriched harmony. Your thankfulness becomes the first note in a greater composition. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where your voice can resonate. Speak your gratitude aloud, not as mere words, but as offerings to the universe. Express thanks for what is and what is becoming. Let your voice carry the vibration of sincere appreciation. Then remain in silence, listening for the universe's response. It may come as an inspired thought, a feeling of peace, or an unexpected opportunity. Trust that your gratitude is being orchestrated into something greater than its original form. Chapter 26. The Color of Intention. The ancient wisdom speaks through a simple truth. Sound carries power, but it is the feeling behind each utterance that shapes your reality. Like Naomi at the well, you too possess the ability to transform ordinary moments into extraordinary manifestations through the alchemy of heartfelt expression. When you whisper gratitude into the depths of life, the universe responds not with mere repetition, but with symphonic abundance. Each word you speak carries a vibration, and that vibration ripples outward, touching the fabric of creation itself. The well's song reveals that your expressions of appreciation grow more powerful as they travel through the cosmos, returning as blessings beyond your initial offering. Later, Lester discovered this truth in his own way. He began writing thank you notes, not to people, but to life itself. For the sunrise, for the air in his lungs, for opportunities both realized and yet to come. As these notes accumulated, something remarkable occurred. Doors began opening without knocking, opportunities arose without seeking, and synchronicities danced through his days like leaves in a gentle breeze. His experience illuminates the principle that gratitude expressed becomes grace multiplied. The universe responds not to the words themselves, but to the authentic feeling woven through them. When you speak with genuine appreciation, you create a resonance that attracts similar frequencies of blessing. This ancient teaching manifests today through Hattie's story with the painted stones. Each stone became a vessel for her desires, but it was the emotional vibrancy of her colors that quickened their manifestation. She discovered that wishes painted in bright, joyful hues materialized more swiftly than those rendered in muted tones. Her practice proved that the universe responds not to the wish itself, but to the emotional energy infusing it. Gilbert built upon this understanding, wrapping each goal in thoughts of pink, loving energy. Where others saw competition, he envisioned cooperation. His approach dissolved barriers, transforming potential obstacles into opportunities for connection. By coloring his intentions with goodwill, he created a field of harmony that naturally attracted support. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to infuse your intentions with color and feeling. Before releasing any desire into the universe, wrap it in the warm hues of benevolence. Feel your wish radiate with the gentle pink of universal love, the golden glow of joy, or the vibrant green of growth. Let your emotion paint your thoughts with the colors of pure intention. This practice ensures your manifestations emerge not from need or lack, but from the wellspring of goodwill that connects all beings. Chapter 27. The Ocean of Consent. In the twilight hours, Myrtle stood at the ocean's edge, her heart heavy with determination. Each day she would wade deeper, fighting against the powerful waves until her muscles burned with exhaustion. The sea seemed an adversary, pushing against her will with relentless force. Yet within this struggle lay a sacred teaching waiting to emerge. One morning, as fatigue overcame her resistance, Myrtle discovered something extraordinary. In the moment she ceased her battle with the waters, her body naturally rose to float upon the surface. The ocean, which had seemed to oppose her, now cradled her gently in its embrace. In that instant, she understood. The water had never been her enemy. Her own resistance had created the struggle. This revelation illuminates one of the most powerful principles of universal law. True strength lies not in forcing your way forward, but in aligning with the natural flow of life. When you release your grip on how things should be, you activate a deeper wisdom that knows precisely where to carry you. The ocean of life responds not to your struggle, but to your willingness to be guided. Every wave that appears to push against you actually offers a direction, if only you would cease resistance long enough to feel its true purpose. The universe conspires not to obstruct, but to direct. Douglas discovered this truth through his own journey. For years he had pushed and strained toward his goals, treating each setback as an obstacle to overcome through sheer force of will. Yet the more he fought, the more distant his dreams became. It was only when he finally released his rigid expectations that the current of life began moving him with effortless grace. To his amazement, once he surrendered his need to control every outcome, opportunities began appearing that far exceeded his original plans. The very things he had struggled to achieve now flowed to him naturally, as if they had been waiting for him to simply allow their arrival. This wisdom echoes through the ages. The universe responds not to your force, but to your faith. When you trust the current of life, you activate a power far greater than personal will. Like Myrtle floating upon the waves, you discover that what you seek is seeking you. Ancient practice. Release yourself into the ocean of life today. When challenges arise, practice relaxing your grip. Agreements with life move you faster than struggle. Let the current carry you toward your highest good, knowing that surrender is not weakness. It is the supreme power of allowing destiny to unfold through you. Chapter 28. The Thread of Gold. Deep in an old market quarter, Lucille sat at her worn sewing table, fingers moving steadily through fabric as sunlight spilled across her work. Though her small tailoring shop barely covered expenses, she held a vision of creating garments that would transform those who wore them. Each evening, after closing her shop, she would remain behind, threading her needle with a single strand of golden thread. What you see with physical eyes often masks deeper truths. Just as a master painter infuses canvas with light through subtle brush strokes, Lucille began weaving this golden thread, a symbol of divine potential, into every garment she altered. With each stitch, she whispered blessings of confidence, joy, and success for the unknown wearer. This was no mere decorative addition, but a conscious embedding of elevated frequency into physical form. The universe responds not to what we do, but to the consciousness we bring to our actions. As you learn to sanctify ordinary tasks with higher intention, they become vessels for extraordinary transformation. Every mundane moment holds the potential for sacred alchemy when approached with awareness. This truth revealed itself through Lucille's growing success. Customers began reporting feeling unusually confident in their mended clothes. Word spread of the lucky alterations from her shop. Without advertising, her business flourished beyond expectation. The golden thread had become a conductor for the power of blessed intention. Later, Arnold, a corporate manager, applied this same principle to his daily communication. Before sending each email, he paused to infuse it with genuine goodwill for the recipient. Soon his colleagues remarked on the unusual warmth they felt reading his messages, though the words themselves remained professional. His response rate improved dramatically, and workplace tensions dissolved around him. The teaching here transcends both needle and keyboard. It speaks to the art of conscious creation. When you weave light into your work, that light radiates outward to touch others in ways beyond ordinary perception. Every task, no matter how seemingly routine, can become a channel for blessing. Your practice is to silently bless all you create today. Whether preparing a meal, writing a message, or crafting a report, pause to thread divine intention through your actions. Feel golden light flowing from your heart into your hands, sanctifying each movement. Watch as your ordinary works begin to shimmer with extraordinary grace. Chapter 29. The Mirror of Infinity. In a forgotten wing of an ancient palace, Eleanor stood frozen before an endless array of mirrors. Each reflection seemed to multiply infinitely, creating a kaleidoscope of her own image stretching into eternity. As fear gripped her heart, she witnessed how every reflection mirrored her anxiety, amplifying it throughout the hall until the very air seemed thick with apprehension. Yet in that moment of overwhelming self-confrontation, a profound truth emerged. These mirrors were not her enemies. They were teachers, revealing the power of her inner state. As this understanding dawned, Eleanor allowed a gentle smile to grace her lips. In an instant, every reflection transformed, radiating light as though each mirror held its own sun. The hall became brilliant with joy, each surface reflecting not just her physical form, but the luminous quality of her transformed consciousness. This revelation unveils one of the deepest mysteries of existence. The world around you serves as an infinite hall of mirrors, each relationship and circumstance reflecting the vibration you hold within. Your outer reality cannot help but echo your inner climate. When you walk through life carrying judgment, the world judges back. When you move through your days radiating warmth, life returns that warmth multiplied. This truth manifested powerfully in Sherman's experience. For years, his family had been torn apart by bitter disagreements that seemed impossible to resolve. Yet rather than trying to fix others, Sherman realized he must first transform his own expectation. He began holding a vision of harmony, regardless of external evidence. He cultivated peace within himself before any outer circumstance changed. Gradually, the energy of conflict began to dissolve. Family members who hadn't spoken in years found themselves reaching out. What had seemed an impenetrable wall of resentment softened into understanding. Sherman's shifted consciousness created a new reflection in the mirror of relationships. These stories illuminate how your experience of life is perpetually shaped by the quality of energy you emanate. Every person you encounter, every situation you face, reflects back to you your own level of consciousness. This is not meant to burden you with responsibility, but to awaken you to your power. Sacred practice. Each morning, stand before your mirror. Meet your own gaze with deep compassion. As you move through your day, remember that every interaction is showing you something about yourself. Practice meeting all reflections, whether pleasant or challenging, with the same loving awareness you cultivated in the mirror. Watch as the infinite mirrors of life begin returning radiance. Chapter 30. The Crown of the Heart. In the depths of contemplation, Florence sat in her garden at dawn, pondering the meaning of the 33rd understanding. The morning light cast gentle shadows as she closed her eyes, seeking wisdom not through thought, but through the silence of her heart. In that sacred stillness, she experienced a vision, a crown of pure light descending not to rest upon her head, but merging with her heart center, illuminating her entire being from within. This moment revealed the deepest truth of spiritual mastery, that the highest knowledge does not reside in the intellect, but in love's transformative power. The crown symbolized not authority over others, but the sovereign recognition that love itself is the supreme law governing all creation. When you grasp this principle, you understand that every spiritual teaching, every universal law, and every cosmic force bows before the presence of pure love. The law of attraction itself is merely love's magnetic nature expressing through form and circumstance. This is why those who seek to manipulate universal forces through mental power alone find their manifestations hollow, while those who infuse their intentions with genuine love discover their desires manifesting with grace and perfect timing. Later, Lawrence, a wealthy merchant, experienced this truth through action. After years of accumulating riches through shrewd business dealings, he felt an inner prompt to redirect his wealth toward uplifting his community. He began funding education programs, supporting local artists, and creating spaces where people could gather in joy and celebration. To his amazement, the more he gave from a place of genuine care, the more abundance flowed back to him, not through calculated returns, but through spontaneous channels he could never have planned. His story illuminates how the 33rd understanding transcends the mechanics of manifestation to reveal love as the master key to universal abundance. When your heart becomes the throne room where love governs your choices, the entire universe conspires to multiply your good works. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment at sunrise or sunset. Place your hand upon your heart and imagine a crown of golden light descending, dissolving into your chest. Feel its warmth spreading through your entire being. From this space of heart-centered awareness, let love guide your next decision, no matter how small. Watch how reality responds when love becomes your compass. Through this practice, you begin embodying the 33rd understanding, not as an achievement to attain, but as the natural expression of love's wisdom flowing through you. This is the true crown of mastery, worn not upon the head, but carried within the heart. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The 33rd degree. Knowledge flows through you now, not as information to be stored, but as living wisdom awakening to itself through your consciousness. This understanding transcends all external teachings, revealing itself as the natural state of your enlightened awareness. You are not learning something new, but remembering what your soul has always known. In this sacred recognition, you perceive that creation and creator were never truly separate. The world around you emerges as a perfect reflection of consciousness, exploring itself through infinite forms. Every circumstance that draws itself into your experience serves as a divine lesson, precisely calibrated to your level of understanding. Your thoughts, emotions, and intuitive knowing now reveal themselves as instruments in the universal symphony. Each vibration you send out returns enhanced with deeper meaning, showing you how the law of attraction operates not through force, but through resonance. This wisdom comes with sacred responsibility. It must flow outward through acts of kindness and service, for knowledge hoarded loses its living power. Your role is to become a pure channel through which this understanding can bless others, never using it to manipulate or harm. Such misuse would only dim your own light and return suffering to its source. The greatest revelation lies in its simplicity. Everything you perceive exists as a projection of your own sacred consciousness. This is not to inflate the ego, but to awaken you to profound responsibility. Your awareness itself is the transformative force, eternally evolving toward greater expressions of love. You stand now as a keeper of this flame, not to guard it jealously, but to share its warmth with those ready to receive it. Let this understanding flow through your being as naturally as breath, knowing that its highest purpose is the elevation of all life toward love's perfection.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.